Good day, sports fans, and welcome to Cricket South Africa's Level 1 umpiring course, presented to you by Western Province Cricket Umpires Association, commonly referred to as WPCUA. My name is Tom Mokorosi. I am the training coordinator of WPCUA, and I'm coming to you live from the beautiful Newlands Cricket Ground here in Cape Town, South Africa. Joining me this evening will be my co-presenter and colleague, Abdullah Steenkamp. And for the next 3.5 weeks, we will take you through Cricket South Africa's Level 1 umpiring course, which involves the lecturing of the 42 laws of cricket. Because Law 41 and 42 are not examined in Cricket South Africa's Level 1 exam, we will not be going through those two laws, but the other 40 laws we will be going through in detail through the presentation that I have shared with you all on email. If you have not received the link to download the Cricket South Africa Level 1 presentation, please type in the chat box your email address, and at the end of this lecture, I will send you the link to download Cricket South Africa's Level 1 umpiring course material. Before we go into tonight's lecture, let's have a look at the meeting protocols for this and all 7 lectures. Your microphones and cameras are currently inactive. Abdullah and I will be presenting for an hour and a half. At the end of the presentation, I will activate everybody's microphones and cameras, and you can ask any question related to the content that we are presenting this evening to myself and Abdullah, and we will answer the questions as best we can. You can, while we present, write down your questions in the chat box, and we will address them at the end of the presentation. Please keep the questions related to the content we're presenting in today's lecture so that we finish in time. At the end of the 7th lecture, when we have finished presenting everything, if there are any questions about cricket umpiring that you would like to know about and we haven't covered them in the 7 lectures, then you can ask absolutely any question to us and we will answer them. That will be on the last lecture. For lectures 1 to 6, we do request that you keep the questions related to the content that we are presenting for that particular lecture. So when the question and answer session starts after we've finished presenting, we will go through all the questions in the chat box. And if you still have further questions, you can raise your virtual hand. We will acknowledge your hand and you can then unmute yourself and put your camera on if you wish to do so and ask your question to the floor. We might go over time during our question and answer session. You are welcome to leave at any time. If you don't get to ask your question live, do remember to post it into the chat box. We will answer it. All the lectures are being recorded and you can watch your answer to your question on the meeting recording, which will be posted on YouTube the morning after every lecture. So for those of you who have not yet done so, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube, just type in WPCUA in the search, and we should be the first channel that comes up. Once you have subscribed to the channel, then you will get notified every time that we load a video. We don't just load recordings of our lectures. We load all sorts of useful cricket umpiring content that you can watch in your own time. And in fact, this entire course, because it's been recorded, will be posted on YouTube. And if you are not able to attend our lectures live, you are able to study the entire course on your own, in your own time, in the comfort of your home, school, or office before writing the exam. Just formal introductions. As I mentioned, Abdullah is the head of training and I am the training coordinator of WPCUA. We are both on Cricket South Africa's national first class panel. We umpire men's Division 1 matches in South Africa, as well as the SA20 that has taken the cricket world by storm in the last couple of years. Special mention of Abdullah's nomination this year as Cricket South Africa's umpire of the year. He unfortunately did not win the prize, but he was one of 3 nominees, which tells you that he is an exceptional umpire as well as an umpire trainer. As for me, I am an umpire master educator for Africa. The ICC recently started a training and development course around the world, not just for umpiring, but also for coaching, pitch curatorship, scoring, and each of the ICC, the International Cricket Council's 5 regions, have master educators who then train trainers in their region, and the trainers in the region are busy rolling out ICC's level 1 courses in coaching, umpiring, scoring, and pitch curatorship. Those of you who have been on EDAP, which is the learning application that the International Cricket Council has provided, you will have noticed that level 1 courses all require part online and part face-to-face lecturing for accreditation. Please note that the face-to-face accreditation of these courses is being done by the umpire tutors, the coach tutors all around the world. Hopefully they will get to all 128 International Cricket Council member countries in the next couple of years, but they are starting with those countries that have not got umpire certification and coaching certification courses in their countries. So Cricket South Africa has a level 1, level 2, and level 3 umpiring certification programs, and this is what we are presenting to you. A lot of people ask me, is Cricket South Africa's level 1 course accredited and recognized around the world? The simple answer is because Cricket South Africa is a member country of the International Cricket Council, yes, it is recognized by the International Cricket Council. Which countries specifically recognize our qualifications? All cricket playing countries in Africa recognize Cricket South Africa's level 1, level 2, and level 3 certificates. If we go to the North America, both the United States of America and Canada recognize our courses. If we come to Africa, the entire continent of Africa recognizes CSA's level 1, level 2, level 3 courses. In Europe, the Netherlands and Finland definitely recognize our courses. And then if we go towards the Middle East, we have a South African umpire, Javi Botha, who now resides in Abu Dhabi. He is part of Emirates Cricket. He delivered training over the weekend, and he has ensured us that in Abu Dhabi, our courses are currently recognized. Cricket South Africa's level 1, 2, and 3. However, they are still in negotiation with Dubai Cricket for our courses to be recognized there. What about India? India definitely does recognize our courses, and we do have examples of umpires from India who have done Cricket South Africa's level 1, level 2, and level 3 courses with us and are now umpiring officially in India. It does not mean that if you have a Cricket South Africa level 1 umpiring qualification that you will automatically start umpiring club cricket in India. You will still have to write an extra entry-level exam in your state in India to start umpiring in India. The same case holds for Pakistan and Sri Lanka. The rest of the world, please, if I haven't covered your region, put in the chat box and we will answer your question about the eligibility or the recognition of Cricket South Africa's level 1 course in your country. So let's have a look at the timetable that we will be going through in the next 3.5 weeks. Today, Monday, the 23rd of September, we are going through an introduction, the spirit of cricket, and then Abdullah will take us through laws 1 to 5. Tomorrow, we will be going through laws 6 to 11. Next week, Monday, laws 12 to 17. Next week, Tuesday, laws 18 to 24. Then 2 weeks from today, laws 25 to 31. And then 2 Tuesdays on the 8th of October, we will be going through laws 32 to 40, as well as a match preparation presentation, so that when you have completed this course, you are ready to walk out after passing your exam and officiate your first match as an official umpire. The 7th lecture on the 14th of October will be a revision lecture. We will go through the slides that are examined in the Cricket South Africa Level 1 online exam. And then I will also take you through a click-by-click demonstration of how to register, confirm your account, and start your online exam. It is a pretty straightforward process, but it's best if you watch it being done before you try it yourself. So as you all know, the lectures are completely free, but exam fees do apply. If you would like to participate in the Cricket South Africa Level 1 online exam, South Africans pay 300 rands by electronic funds transfer, and the bank account details are in the course material and logistics email that I sent out. I will also, while Abdullah is presenting, put them in the chat box. If you are not in South Africa, exam fees are $30 and are payable via PayPal. Some of you have already paid the exam fee of $30 via PayPal. Thank you very much. I will acknowledge payers of the exam fee at the end of every day. So I will email you all tonight for those who have already paid. If you are outside of South Africa, but you do not have a PayPal account, please ask somebody who has a PayPal account to pay on your behalf. or create a PayPal account. It's not difficult at all. Or if you know somebody in South Africa, or you can make an international wire transfer, you can do so. I will put the bank account details of that particular account also in the chat box. The fees then would be 500 South African rands. The deadline to pay exam fees are Sunday, the 20th of October at 6 p.m. South African time. And exam link emails will only be sent to those email addresses who have sent their proof of payments to training at WPCUA.co.za. Please note that I do not have access to the Western Province Cricket Umpires Association bank account, so I cannot check who has paid and who has not. The only way that I will know that you have paid is if you send a proof of payment to the email address training@wpcua.co.za. The exam window period is all online, and it will open on Monday, the 21st of October at 8 a.m. South African time. It will run for 10 days, and it will close on Thursday, the 31st of October at 7:59 a.m. The exam is 69 true or false and multiple choice questions, and you have up to 5 attempts in those 10-day window period to achieve the pass mark of 80%. Note that 80% is 56 correct answers out of the 69. If you get 55 questions correct, it is 79.79%. And unfortunately, it does not round it up to 80%. You need to score 56 correct answers. Once you have achieved your pass mark, you cannot use more attempts to try and improve your mark. That will be your last attempt. Results are displayed immediately online, and certificates are emailed to training@wpcua.co.za. I will receive those certificates and I will forward them to you as soon as I can, and I can commit to sending you your certificate within 24 hours of you passing. At the end of the exam window period, I will send an email to all the candidates who have passed, giving them contact details of the umpiring association closest to them so that they can join that particular umpiring association wherever in the world it is. We have contacts all around the cricketing world. And then you can start umpiring in an official capacity. When will we have level 2? Level 2 will also be online, and it will be at the end of our cricket season here in South Africa. Our cricket season runs from now in middle of September until the middle of April. So our level 2 online course will start in May 2025. You do not have to remind me to enroll you for level 2. All the level 1 passes will be on our database and will be emailed the details of the level 2 course a week before the first lecture. And that is how you will grow with us as an umpire in your career. Speaking of umpiring careers, this next slide basically outlines the timeline of an umpire from today. You are starting your level 1 qualification, and it is happening in year 1. And hopefully at some point you will get to the very bottom of this slide, which is the ICC Elite Panel of Umpires. and hopefully you can umpire international cricket. It is the dream of most of us who take up the career. But please note that there are only 12 umpires in the world on the ICC elite panel of umpires. So not everybody's going to make it there. So I implore you to enjoy the journey and not just think or worry about the destination. So as a Western Province Cricket Umpires Association umpire, this would be your route to get to the top of umpiring. You start with your level 1 qualification, and once you've got your level 1 qualification, you will receive an application form at the end of the exam window period. You fill in that application form, it's online. And once the Executive Committee of Western Province Cricket Umpires Association accepts you as a member, you will start umpiring in men's club cricket here in Western Cape, South Africa. Just to get to know the feel of the crowd, I would like you all in the chat box to tell me where you are in the cricketing world. So right now, I am in Newlands in Cape Town, South Africa. So I would type into the chat box. Let me go ahead and do so and get a little bit of communication started. And I know a lot of you are in India. Please also type in where in India you are. I'm going to type in Cape Town, South Africa. So the reason we do this is to ensure that we have contacts everywhere that you might be, so that when this course ends, we are able to put you in touch with the Umpires Association closest to you. So please don't just put in the country that you are in, put in the town, the city, or the state that you are in your country, so that we are able to link you up with the Umpires Association closest to you. So if you live in and around Cape Town, you will join Western Province Cricket Umpires Association. We cover 70 clubs in and around Cape Town, as far south as Fishhook, as far north as Atlantis, as far inland as Somerset West. Those 70 clubs are divided into 5 men's leagues: the Premier Division, the First Division A, First Division B, First Division C, First Division D. On any given Saturday, we require 54 umpires to fill up those 5 leagues. While we have already 110 active members in Western Province Cricket Umpires Association, it does not mean that there won't be space for you. People are always on holiday and do have other commitments over weekends. So even if we had 150 members, we would still find matches for all 150 members. So please join the course, write the exam, pass the exam, join WPCUA, and start your journey as an umpire. First Division D is where you will start, and you will also umpire Western Province age group trial matches and ladies First Division A matches. Next year, May, you will be able to do level 2. And once you pass level 2, next season, you will be able to umpire in the men's First Division C and First Division B leagues. You will also be able to umpire in Cape Premier League age group tournaments, as well as the Ladies Premier League matches. In your third year, you can do level 3. And once you've passed level 3, then you are eligible to umpire men's First Division A and men's Premier League matches. You also can be considered for men's Cape Premier League matches. Please note that level 3 is a prerequisite for all of these matches. It does not mean that just because you have level 3 that you will automatically umpire in these matches. Your movement through the leagues, up the leagues, is mainly based on your performance on the field and not just your qualification. You will see in the middle column is your Cricket South Africa experience. Once you have level 3 and you've been umpiring well in Western Province Cricket Association club cricket leagues, you might be considered by WPCUA and get nominated to umpire in Cricket South Africa's girls and boys under 16 age group tournaments. If you do well in those two tournaments, you could be nominated by Cricket South Africa, no longer by Western Province Cricket Umpires Association, but Cricket South Africa is the one that selects umpires to umpire in the National Girls Under 19 tournament, as well as the Kaya Majola Week, which is the Boys Under 19 tournament. And that is when Cricket South Africa starts tracking your development as an umpire. Up to now, you would have only been tracked by Western Province Cricket Umpires Association. In your 4th or 5th year, other tournaments that you could attend are the University's B Week, also known as USA B, and other tournaments that you could umpire within Western Province structures are women's interprovincial matches, Western Province Academy and Colts matches, as well as Western Province practice matches. Please note that there's a red line below USA B and above Kaya Majola Week. That red line is described at the bottom of this slide. It says there's an age restriction to progress beyond this point with Cricket South Africa. If you are 42 years or older, unfortunately, Cricket South Africa will not invest in you. You can still continue as a club cricket umpire, but you will not be eligible for Boys Under 19 week and higher national weeks where Cricket South Africa selects umpires. If you are under 42, when you get to that level, you will go through the various tournaments listed there: Rural Week, Schools T20, Universities Week, Cubs Week, which is the franchise under 19 week where Cricket South Africa's under 19 men's team is selected. Then Club Champs is the tournament where all provincial club team winners go to a tournament. Community Cup is similar, excluding university clubs. And the televised Varsity Cup is seen as the best opportunity for amateur umpires to officiate in South Africa. So how long does all of this progress take? You can see in the last column of this particular slide, we have examples of South African umpires and how long it's taken them to get to that particular level. Wilhelm Nel, it took him 8 years to get to Kaya Majola Week, which happened last season. And he went through all of those tournaments superbly well. And this winter, in June, July 2024, he was invited by Cricket South Africa after having gone through the amateur tournaments. Because he had done so well, he was invited by Cricket South Africa to write his level 4 national exam. Please note that this exam is only available to umpires in South Africa who have been nominated by Cricket South Africa, identified by Cricket South Africa to umpire in professional matches. So Welome Nel wrote his level 4 exam in June and he passed, and he is now on Cricket South Africa's reserve list panel. And on Saturday, this past Saturday, 2 days ago, he officiated in his first men's Division 2 T20 provincial match. It took him 9 years to get to that level. Warren Weingard, also in the right-hand column, he is a former first-class player. It took him 7 years to get to that level. Abdullah and I, we have been umpiring for a lot longer than Welome and Warren. Abdullah has been umpiring for 14 years now, and I've been umpiring for 17 years now. We are on Cricket South Africa's national first-class panel. As mentioned, we umpire Division 1 provincial competitions, SA20. Last year, I was fortunate to be appointed to South Africa A against India A, a 4-day match, an unofficial test match, they called it. And Abdullah has umpired in SA under-19 inbound tours. Both of us have umpired in South Africa women's inbound tours. Last season, I was involved in South Africa women against Sri Lanka women, and Abdullah was involved in South Africa women against Bangladesh women. So that is the experience within South Africa that is afforded to us. Arno Jacobs, who is a former first-class player, and he was also 12th man for South Africa in a test match many years ago. He's only been umpiring when this slide was put together last year for 8 years. He's now been umpiring for 9 years. He's been on exchange to Australia. He's been on exchange to New Zealand. And this past winter, he was promoted to Cricket South Africa's international panel. And he will be making his T20 international debut in November, when India come to play against South Africa here in South Africa. So the top 4 umpires in South Africa, they get to umpire T20 internationals as well as one-day internationals in South Africa. A lot of you might have seen Alauddin Palika at the men's ICC T20 World Cup in the USA and West Indies in June this year. He also officiates in one-day international series outside of South Africa. He will be going to the Caribbean to umpire in a one-day international series for the West Indies in the next month. And then I'm sure you all know of Murray Erasmus and Adrian Holstock, who are on the ICC Elite panel. Murray Erasmus has recently retired from the ICC Elite panel. So the only South African remaining on the ICC Elite panel is Adrian Holstock. How long does it take to get to the ICC Elite panel? It took Murray Erasmus 8 years of umpiring. It took Adrian Holstock 18 years of umpiring. Everybody's journey is different, and we are not all going to make it to the highest level. What you need to do is you need to enjoy your umpiring. There are going to be a lot of hot, miserable days where players abuse you. But at the end of the day, if you love the game and you enjoy watching cricket, you've got the best seat in the house to do so. I've also made many friends over the years through cricket umpiring. At my wedding 11 years ago, one of my groomsmen was a cricket player, and I met him through umpiring. So those are the opportunities that umpiring can afford you. Apart from traveling the world and your own country, you will also get to meet lovely people along the way. We also have an exchange program for those of you wishing to visit Cape Town, and we will happily appoint you to matches here. You might not stand at Newlands Cricket Ground, but you can definitely come and watch some matches here while you are in the country. So how does it work? Basically, we afford the opportunity of anybody who has done level 1, level 2, or level 3 with us from around the world to come and visit Cape Town to umpire, and that way improve yourself as an umpire. Please note that the trip will be completely self-funded, and you will only get paid for the matches that you umpire. So once you have passed your level 1 course, you can apply for a tourist visa to come to South Africa. It's a maximum stay of 90 days. You need to book flights yourself to Cape Town anytime during the season, starting in October. That's the club cricket season, and ending in March. There is a 3-week period from the 16th of December until around the 7th of January when there are no club cricket matches. We break for Christmas and New Year's. You can book accommodation using Airbnb to stay in one of Cape Town's southern suburbs, because there's a huge concentration of cricket clubs around the southern suburbs where you'll be able to get to matches easily. And the preferred or the recommended means of transporting yourself to and from matches around in Cape Town is to use Uber. You will mainly be appointed to matches on the weekends. There are very few midweek matches. A great idea is if you have an employer who allows you to work remotely, you can work remotely while you are here in Cape Town, still earning your normal income, and then working Monday to Friday, and then umpiring Saturday and Sunday. That is what young Daitram Singh from Bangalore in India did from December 2022 to February 2023. He was here for 3 months, and he thoroughly enjoyed his experience. And later, while Abdullah is presenting, I will post in the chat box a link to an interview that I had with Daitram right here at Newlands during an SA20 match, when he talks about his trip to South Africa, all the matches that he umpired in, how he got to where he was, and the benefit of his umpiring experience in Cape Town, what it led to him getting to in India in terms of umpiring opportunities when he went back. So a very useful video for all of you to watch if you're interested in joining our umpire exchange program. The fees that you will earn from umpiring matches in Cape Town while you are here on exchange vary from 175 rands for an under 11 T20 match to 500 rands for a men's Premier League match. and we will appoint you to the level that we feel you are ready for when you are here in Cape Town, based on any experience you might have had umpiring anywhere else around the world. You will be paid cash after your last match here in Cape Town, less 500 rands for the WPCUA membership, and also any clothing that you would have received from us will be deducted from your match fees. Please note once again that WPCUA does not provide any visa, accommodation, or travel assistance. The video of Datrum will give you all the details that you will need to organize your trip yourself. Or if you need any more information, I can give you Datrum's details for him to help you with the process of applying for a visa to come to South Africa. I've never had to apply for a visa to come to South Africa because I live in South Africa, so I cannot give you any advice on how to apply for a visa to visit South Africa. So I hope you are all excited to start your journey as an umpire with us, Western Province Cricket Umpires Association. And with that, I am going to start with a video of the spirit of cricket. It is the first thing you will read about in the Laws of Cricket Handbook. The Laws of Cricket Handbook is not available in any bookstore around the world. Cricket Australia does sell it online. You can Google to find out how to purchase it. Just type the Laws of Cricket book and type Cricket Australia and it will come up. However, I have on email earlier today attached the Laws of Cricket PDF, which you can refer to throughout the course. And you will notice that the first thing in the Laws of Cricket Handbook is the spirit of cricket. What is the spirit of cricket? Let's watch a little video as an introduction. Abdullah, please let me know if there is no sound on the video. Otherwise, please all enjoy the video.
Well, the spirit of cricket is about going out there, giving your all 100%, fighting against the opposition, but doing it with a smile on your face and doing it with enormous respect for the beautiful game of cricket.
Middle stop. The way you conduct yourself on and off the field, it's about respecting the opposition, respecting the game.
You embracing the game, yes, but also how you play the game, what example you are for young kids growing up.
The
spirit of cricket is about respecting the traditions of what's been before us and those who have been before us as well. And as cricketers, we've got a duty to make sure we uphold those.
You know, you let your skills go to work when you play, but you treat each other and the game itself, which has been around a lot longer than us, with respect, and you hope that you leave it in a better place than what you started with.
Playing it hard, playing it fair, and you're representing your country, and we're very, very privileged. You should cherish that.
It's obviously competitive. No professional international sport isn't, and you would never want to lose that competitiveness from any of the players because that's what makes the game as good as it is. But it's obviously a line in terms of doing it the right way and doing it the wrong way. And I think it's one of the important things when trying to, I guess, inspire people to play the sport.
Yeah, just conducting yourself in a way that probably your parents and your grandparents would want you to. I think that's probably the easiest way to describe it.
Obviously, after what happened in South Africa, you know, I know those guys really well, and I know that they're not proud of that, and they made a mistake. And unfortunately, that's something they're going to have to live with, because at the end of the day, he made a mistake, but he's still a very good person.
Everybody will make a mistake at some point in their career, but it's about repairing those mistakes in future games and learning from your mistakes. yeah, there's no doubt about still being competitive and still wanting to win. But yeah, certainly you can win and lose in the right manner.
But I think out of that, you know, we've thought a lot about just respecting the game and everything around the game and just putting the focus back on just playing the game.
So it was a really closely fought semi-final, kind of went down to the wire, and you obviously kind of have a moment of celebration, but then your thought quite quickly turns to the opposition. It's obviously not something you think out or anything like that. It just kind of seemed like the right thing to do at that time.
We lost a test match against England, which was a cracking test match, I thought. Played between two very, very good cricket teams playing aggressively, but playing in the right spirit. And after that test match, we sat in the English dressing room, as the losers do. They go through to the winners' dressing room and shared a beer with them. And for me, it was just encapsulated everything which was good about the game.
I remember the Ashes Test match in 2005.
For me, the most iconic one is the 2005 Ashes, when Freddie Flintoff obviously consoled Brett Lee.
When he was sitting down and when Flintoff went to him and shake his hand, I think that's the spirit of cricket for me.
Yeah, that for me is the iconic moment. Kind of the result obviously went England's way, but he took the time to console a bloke that had put in a hell of a performance.
It'll be something like, I want to tell you, the great admiration for you and the way you guys played this match.
Sure, you know, you respect for the opposition. End of the day, it's just a game of cricket, but I think that's the spirit of cricket for me. But you actually together, you sit down together, and that's the spirit of cricket. Friendship.
The law book tells us that respect is central to the spirit of cricket. It tells players to respect your captain, teammates, opponents, and the authority of the umpires. Play hard, but play fair, and accept the umpire's decision. I like that piece of advice. Cricket owes much of its appeal and enjoyment to the fact that it should be played not only according to the laws, but also within the spirit of cricket. The major responsibility for ensuring fair play rests with the captains, but extends to all players, umpires, and especially in junior cricket, teachers, coaches, and parents. So let's have a look at a live example of the spirit of cricket coming to the fore in a very important match. This was a World Cup qualifying tournament, and the match was between Nepal and Ireland a few years ago.
To hoik that across the line. Andy McBride has ended up on his feet. I don't think they're going to run him out here, and that is brilliant to see. Asif Sheikh, take a bow. We speak so often about where the spirit of cricket has gone in our game, and you see it on show there, because Kamal Singh Irie has accidentally tripped up Andy McBride, and I've got goosebumps here in the commentary box because that's a touching moment. It was accidental, but he could have run him out here, and Asif Sheikh has said no. He said he's not going to do it because of the spirit of the game. That's your nominee for the Spirit of Cricket Award for 2022 for the ICC. It's that young man, Asif Sheikh.
What's important to note there is that the wicketkeeper, Asif Sheikh, did not remove the bails to run out the batter. If he had removed the bails to run out the batter and Nepal had appealed, then the umpires would have had to have given the batter out, run out. At international cricket, they are under instruction, the umpires, not to ask the captains to withdraw an appeal. However, at club cricket, in where it is more of a recreational game, we encourage our umpires to suggest to captains to withdraw controversial appeals. it is not up to us as umpires to force captains to withdraw controversial appeals. We can only suggest for them to withdraw controversial appeals. And that is the role that we play as umpires in the spirit of cricket. That is me for this evening. I am now going to hand over to my colleague Abdullah Steenkamp to take us through laws 1 through to 5. I am unsharing, and I think Abdullah will share his screen. Over to you, Abdullah. I will chat to you at the end of the presentation for our question and answer session.
Thank you so much, Tom. Good evening to you and the rest of the attendees. I'll be covering 5 laws this evening, laws 1 to 5. And for the purpose of this course, we are focusing on the laws of cricket. Tom alluded to earlier the blue book that covers the laws of cricket. We are not covering any playing conditions specific to certain competitions. We are only covering what the laws of cricket are saying. So law 1 covers the players. So in terms of the number of players per game, the law guides us. The law tells us that usually a match is played between 2 sides and each of 11 players, and one of those 11 players to be captain. But by agreement, the law allows for a match to be played between sides of less than 11 or even more than 11 players. Like example, in South Africa, we often find competitions that are 6 a side, where only 6 players per side plays. And I do know of trial games or even warm-up games where sometimes more than 11 players play. The law allows for that, but that needs to be agreed before the match has started. But what the law says, yes, we allow for either fewer than 11 or even more than 11. But when it comes to players on the field at any given time, only 11 players on the field at any given time. So in a warm-up game or in a trial game where you do allow like 15 players to play, law allows for that, but only 11 may field at any given time. You cannot have all 15 players on the field at the same time. Max of 11 if you do play, the match is played by more than 11 per side. There are times where sometimes you start the game and then a side is reduced. It can happen. If that happens, the law now tells us sometimes there are playing conditions, like in the Western Cape. The local playing condition is if the side is reduced to less than 7 members, then the game cannot continue. But that is a playing condition or a local playing condition here in Cape Town. When it comes to the nomination and the replacement of players, firstly, the nomination of players, each captain to nominate his or her players in writing to one of the umpires before the toss. On the right-hand side, you'll see an example of a team sheet that we use here locally in Cape Town, where the captains needs to complete the sheet and bring it with them to the toss. Can a player be replaced? Yes, the law allows for a player to be replaced, but there's one condition. You need the consent of the opposing captain to replace a player. An example, let's say the toss took place at 9:30, the game starting at 10 o'clock. So at 9:40, while the players were still warming up, one of the players, let's say, break an ankle or break a leg. So the law allows for that player to be replaced, but you need to go to the opposing captain and ask his or her permission. And if you get consent, then that player may be replaced. So when it comes to the replacement player that we covered now in the previous slide, so any replacement player, that player to be considered the same as a nominated player. So that player, that replacement player can now bat, bowl, field. That player can do everything in terms of the laws. A replacement player to not bat in the innings if the player that he or she replaced already completed his or her innings for that particular innings. Let's say in the first innings, the player was replaced, that player is already batted. Yes, law allows for that player to be replaced, but if that player is out, the replacement player cannot bat in that first innings. In terms of the replacement player, when it comes to any penalty time or unserved penalty time, any warnings or suspension that was applied to the original player, that those unserved penalty time, those warnings, those suspensions shall be inherited by the replacement player according to the laws of cricket. When it comes to the captain, if the captain is not available, the law allows for a deputy or vice captain to act on his or her behalf. So if the captain is not available to nominate the players, the law then allows for any person associated with that particular team to complete the nomination sheet. So yes, the coach can complete the nomination sheet. We often find the scorers completing the nomination sheet here at club level in the Western Cape. A law allows for any player associated with the team to complete or to nominate the players and write it down on the nomination sheet. So after the nomination of players, so when it comes to a player or wanting to act as a captain, the law is now specific here. Only a nominated player to act as a deputy. So if the captain is not available, let's say to do the toss, you cannot have anyone, the coach come do the toss. It needs to be one of the nominated players on your nomination sheet. That player can then be a deputy and can then do the toss on behalf of the captain. Law 2 is the umpires. So when it comes to the appointment and attendance of the umpires, according to the laws want 2 umpires to be appointed to each game. Yes, it's not always the case. Sometimes, especially at club level, you'll find sometimes an umpire not pitching, and then there's only 1 umpire. Can happen, but 2 umpires to be appointed to each game. The law then wants the umpires to be at the ground 45 minutes before play starts. So if your play starts at 10 o'clock, the 9:15, the umpires needs to be at the field of play. So latest 9:15. Are we allowed to change an umpire? Yes, the law allows for the change of an umpire because an umpire can become injured or ill. So then the law allows for the change of an umpire, but there's a condition. If you do change the umpire, this new umpire or the replacement umpire can only stand at the striker's end. But there's a but. But if both captains agree for this replacement umpire to take full responsibility, no issue. But if the captains don't agree, the replacement umpire to only stand at the striker's end. So what do you consult with the captains before the toss? The balls to be used during the match. usually the governing body for that particular competition. They usually decide on which balls to be used. Similarly, the hours of play, how long your intervals are in terms of whether it's your lunch, your tea intervals, or your drinks intervals. These times are also supplied by the governing body of cricket for that particular competition. Also, before the game starts, if there are any obstacles within the field of play, you'll often find at school venues, rugby poles close to the boundary, or let's say 10, 15 meters inside the field of play. If that is the case, please, before the game starts, discuss it with both captains, how you're going to deal with it if the ball should hit the poles while still in play. You'll also discuss the use of covers before the game starts, and if there are any special conditions affecting the game, that you'll also discuss with the players. And whatever agreements you've reached in point 1, please inform the scorers of all these agreements. When it comes to fair and unfair play, who do you think are the judges of what is fair and what is unfair play? Is it the captains, coaches, players? Let's have a look what the law say. The law tells us that umpires, they are the sole judges of fair and unfair play. Why? Umpires are supposed to be impartial. If you allow captains or coaches to be the judges of fair and unfair play, I promise you, they are going to be subjective. They can be biased. They're not going to be fair. So that's why the law tells us that the umpires, they are the sole judges of fair and unfair play. When it comes to the fitness of play, who judge whether the field is fit to play? Coaches? Captains? Players? Again, the law tells us that it is the umpires, and the emphasis on umpires, the two umpires together, they decide whether conditions of ground, weather, or light mean that it would be dangerous or unreasonable for play to take place. So the key two words that you need to take into account is when deciding fitness of play is, are the conditions dangerous or unreasonable? In the next slide, we will see the definition of what the law says, what is dangerous and what is unreasonable. But what I want you to take away from point number 7 is the two umpires together to decide in terms of the fitness of play. And what they need to take into account is conditions dangerous or unreasonable? Conditions shall not be regarded as either dangerous or unreasonable merely because they're not ideal. Just bear with me. In the next slide, we'll see what the definition according to the law is of what dangerous conditions are and what unreasonable conditions are. At times, you do find that the grass are wet, maybe a bit of dew in the morning, maybe there was a bit of rain around and then the game started. The law tells us because the grass are wet and this wetness does not warrant the conditions to be unreasonable or dangerous. Let's see what the definition of dangerous is according to the law. The law tells us that conditions are dangerous if there are actual or foreseeable risk to the safety of any player or the safety of any umpire. So the definition according to the law of dangerous, are there any risk to the safety of to the players or the umpires? If yes, field is not fit to play. When it comes to the definition of unreasonable, here the law tells us, even though the conditions poses no risk to safety, it would not be sensible for play to proceed. An example of this is a dust storm. While the play is in progress, a dust storm goes over the ground. So this is an example of when conditions are unreasonable. Yes, the players, there's no risk to the safety of the players, but in terms of conditions, with usually in a dust storm, there's lots of sand flying around, sand goes in your nose, in your eyes. That is seen, or that is the definition as per the law of what is unreasonable. And in this case, if conditions are unreasonable, its conditions are not fit to play. Also, things that you do take into account is whether the ground is so wet or slippery, and this wetness and slipperiness deprive the bowler of solid foothold or reasonable foothold while running into to deliver the ball. Also, the fielder's power of movement, if it's so wet and it stops the players from moving around easily, or the batter's ability to play these strokes or to run between the wickets. If this is the case, the umpires, shall then regard the field as dangerous and unreasonable for play to take place. So in terms of suspension of play in dangerous and unreasonable conditions, law now tells us that if the umpires together agree that circumstances are now dangerous or unreasonable, now the law tells us the umpires, then need to immediately suspend play, or if no play is in progress, not allow play to start or to recommence. Again, umpires together, they agree that conditions are dangerous or unreasonable, immediately suspend play. And if play is in progress and the umpires do not agree on such conditions, the law tells us to immediately suspend play. An example of this, let's say in a test match, it's close to the end of the day, bad light is setting in. The two umpires look at each other. The one umpire thinks the light is still good to play on. The other umpire thinks, I think this is too dark. Now the law guides us. Both umpires don't agree because one thinks it's still good to play on, other think it's too dark. The law tells us if there's no agreement, you need to immediately suspend play, i.e. to take players off the field. So you've now decided to take players off the field. So what do you now do? So while players are off the field, law tells us it's the responsibility of the umpires to monitor conditions. And when they do decide to make inspections, please, no players or coaches or management to be around the umpires. Umpires needs to alone do the inspection. So when it comes to the position of the umpires, so where do the umpires stand? So all the law tells us is umpire needs to stand where he or she can act upon or make a decision. We can best see to act upon when a decision needs to be made. So there's not an exact place. All they say is you need to stand where you can make in the best position for you to make the decision. So when you're standing at bowler's end, you're not to interfere with either the bowler's run-up or the striker's view. When it comes to the striker's end umpire, the law wants the striker's end umpire to stand on the leg side. There are times where the striker's end umpire needs to go stand on the offside. Example of those is the late setting sun in the afternoon. Another example is sometimes there's a short leg, a leg gully, lots of players around the bat. And if you stand on the leg side, you're not able to see the popping crease or the keeper breaking the stumps. These are just two examples of when the striker's end umpire needs to go stand on the offside. And when the striker's end umpire do decide to go stand on the offside, He or she needs to then inform the captain of the fielding side that he or she is going to stand on the offside, including the striker and also the other umpire. Do umpire change ends in Morday cricket, and Test match cricket is an example of Morday cricket? Yes, they do change ends. When do they change ends? Umpires to change ends after each side has completed one innings. So South Africa batted first, dismissed for 400. India batting in their first innings, dismissed for 420. After both sides has completed their first innings, umpires then need to change ends. So when there is a disagreement or a dispute, umpires then get together, discuss the disagreement or dispute, make a decision, and that decision is then final. So in terms of an umpire decision, can the umpire change his or her decision? Yes, the law allows for an umpire to change his or her decision as long as it's made promptly. But be careful, don't just start changing your decision. You've made one and then suddenly you change it. Be careful, the law allows for you to change it, but if you are going to change your decisions week in, week out, your credibility as an umpire is going to start to be questioned. Players will quickly start talking among each other, and they will tell each other that that umpire Abdullah, he changes his decisions regularly. You will start losing credibility, but the law allows for an umpire to change his or her decision. When it comes to signals, the basic signals are, if I start from left to right, starting at the top, the out decision. And when you do give the out decision, you need to show an index finger above your head. We'll see later on why it's important for the index finger to be above the head. Boundary 4, waving your hand in front of you, and you need to end up with your hand across your chest. You should not be ending up with your hand next to the side of your body. That will look to the scorers as if you're signaling no ball. So if you do signal 4, please end up with your hand across your chest. Boundary 6, by lifting both hands above your head. We'll see on later why it's important for both hands to be above the head. Similarly with the bye signal, open palm facing towards the scorers with the hand above your head. When you signal leg bye, it's a raised knee by touching your hand touching your leg or your knee that you've raised with your other hand, and please side onto the scorers. Scorers are sometimes 80 to 100 meters away from you. So don't face the scorers with your knee. Always try to be side on. They can much better see when you do signal leg bye. One short, but it's keeping your hand here and touching this part of your shoulder. Wide ball, arms horizontally. Dead ball, by waving your hands just below your belt height. No ball, you can use either hand, doesn't matter. When you do cancel your call, you've often seen on TV, when umpires do cancel the calls, when DRS are in place. When you do signal the new ball to the scorers, you take the new ball in your hand and you hold it up to the scorers. And there are times where you need to signal penalty runs to the scorers. There are penalty runs for the batting side and penalty runs for the fielding side. There is a difference how you signal it. Penalty runs to the batting side, you take your hand and place it on your opposite shoulder, and you need to tap your opposite shoulder. How I remember it is penalty runs for the batting side. It's like tapping, batting. That's how I remember the signal for penalty runs to the batting side. So I tap the opposite side, my hand on the opposite shoulder. If it's penalty runs to the fielding side, you just need to place your hand on the opposite shoulder. You can either use your left or your right. But now for penalty runs to the fielding side, you need to keep your hand on the shoulder. If the scorer sees you keeping your hand on the shoulder, they will then know that's penalty runs to the fielding side. If the scorers see you tapping your shoulder, they'll know that is penalty runs to the batting side. Other signals, if in modern cricket, there is the concept of the last hour, which we will handle in not next week, the following week. So by pointing to a raised wrist, the other hand. There are also level 3 and level 4 conduct. For a level 3 conduct, there are 2 signals to be used. The first signal is by putting one arm to the side of the body and to lift it up and down. That's your first signal for level 3 conduct. If the scorers see this, they'll know there's either level 4, level 3, or level 4 conduct coming up. But the second signal, there's a difference between level 3 and level 4. So the second signal, if there's a level 3 conduct, is by raising both hands, fingers spread, palms facing towards the scorers. This is the second signal for level 3 conduct. So just to confirm, there are 2 signals for level 3 conduct. The first one is to hand side to your body and lift it up and down. And your second signal is palms facing the scorers, fingers spread, and palms below shoulder height. If there's a level 4 conduct that happen, also 2 signals. The first signal is similarly to level 3, arm next to the side of the body and lifting it up and down. And the second signal is raising an index finger at shoulder height. So now you can see the importance why when you do give a batter out, that your index finger should be raised above the head. According to the laws, it should be raised above the head. So when it comes to signals, umpires shall wait until each signal to the scorers has been separately acknowledged before allowing play to proceed. There are often times where there are more than one signal of a single ball. I'll use an example. Let's say the bowler bowls a front foot no ball. The ball goes against the pad. Batter playing a shot. The ball then ricochets from the pad and goes then past the keeper over the boundary. So now 3 signals needs to be made. So you need to signal in the order that events occurred. So the no ball happened first. So you'll signal no ball by keeping your hand out next to the side of you horizontally. The scorers needs to firstly acknowledge your no ball signal. Your second signal is going to be the leg by. So touching a raised knee sideways to the scorers then needs to acknowledge your leg by signal as well. And then your third signal is going to be your boundary 4 signal, and the scorers needs to acknowledge the boundary 4 signal, and you end up with your boundary 4 in front of your chest. So if there are more than one signal, signal them separately. Scorers needs to acknowledge each of them separately. When it comes to signaling the scorers, bowlers and umpire signal to the scorers. There's one exception. Sometimes, and this is the short run. If the short run occurs at the striker's end, yes, the striker's end umpires are call and signal short run. But when it comes to signaling to the scorers the short run, it's not the striker's end to signal short run to the scorers. The bowler's end umpire needs to signal short run to the scorers and to make sure that the scorers know the number of runs to be recorded. So when it comes to the correctness of the scores, important for umpires, they need to make sure that the scores are correct. Yes, I know scorers, they keep score, but it is important for umpires to make sure. So what the law tells us, let's say in a test, at club cricket, it's more day cricket, at your lunch interval, the first thing you do is before you're going to have lunch, please go to the scorers and ask and ask them if their books are balancing. Overs, wickets, runs, do they balance? If they don't, you need to go find why they're not balancing. So go to them confirming that the books balance. If they tell you the books are balancing, no issue, then you can go have your lunch. Speaking about the scorers, the law also guides us. Ideally, 2 scorers to be appointed. And what do scorers do? They need to record all runs scored, all wickets taken, and the number of overs bowled. Scorers need to sit next to each other. Why is that important? They need to check their books regularly. Do their scores tie up? Do their overs tie up? Wickets tie up? Bowlers tie up? And then the law tells us, which I mentioned earlier, and it tells the scorers, please acknowledge all signals by the umpires and acknowledge each separate signal. The penultimate law that I'm covering is the ball. So in terms of the weight and size, when it comes to men's cricket, when it comes to the weight of the ball, so not less than 155.9 grams and not more than 163 grams. So anything in between, whether it's 156 grams, whether it's 160 grams, whether it's 161 grams, they all are legal balls. If the ball's weight is 165 grams, then that is not a legal ball in terms of the weight. And when it comes to the circumference, not less than 22.4 and not more than 22.9 centimeters. Those are men's cricket. Women's cricket, slightly smaller ball in terms of weight and circumference. So women's cricket, weight is between 140 grams and 151 grams, and the circumference between 21 centimeters and 22.5 centimeters. So when it comes to the approval and the control of balls, so who approve the balls? It's usually the governing body for that particular competition that approves the balls. So if I use Test match cricket as an example, the International Cricket Council, they are the governing body of Test match cricket. So the balls that they've approved, only these balls can be used in Test match cricket, and they are the Kookaburra balls, the Duke balls, and the SG balls. Those are the only 3 balls to be used at Test match level. Closer to home, here in Cape Town, the Western Province Cricket Association, they're the governing body of cricket here in Cape Town, and they've decided that only 1 ball to be used in club cricket, and the name of that ball is the Inwe ball. So that's the only ball to use. So all balls needs to be in the position of the umpires before the toss, and umpires to keep the ball under their control throughout the match. It's important for umpires. They need to take possession of the ball after the fall of each wicket, at the start of any interval, when there is an interruption of play, please ask the fielding side to give the ball to you, and you, the umpires, need to keep the ball. So when it comes to a new ball, law tells us either captain may demand a new ball at the start of each innings. So in more day cricket, the law allows for a second new ball to be used, and that is after 80 overs has been bowled. The option is there for the fielding captain to take a new ball after 80 overs. Does not have to, but the option is there to take a new ball after 80 overs. And if the fielding captains do decide to take up the option to take a new ball, umpire then to indicate to the batters that a new ball has been taken, and also to inform the scorers that a new ball has now been taken. So what happens if a ball becomes lost or becomes unfit for play. The law guides us here by telling us. So let's start with the lost ball. Let's say a ball gets hit out the stadium, out the park, gone. So how do you choose a replacement ball? Law guide us. The replacement ball that you need to choose is that the ball needs to have comparable wear to which the previous ball had received before the need for its replacement. So you need to look at your spare balls and find a ball as close to the ball that needed to be replaced. You will hardly find an exact the ball in exact same condition, but you need to find as close to it. Similarly, if a ball do become unfit for play, let's say it's out of shape, or the seam is now loose, or the ball broke in two, you use the same criteria. Law guide us by telling us when you do replace the ball, it needs to have similar wear and tear to which the previous ball had before the need for its replacement. And when the ball is replaced, you shall inform the batters and the fielding captains that the ball has now been replaced. So it's for the umpires to decide on the replacement ball. Batters have no say. Fielding captain or fielders has no say. Practically, you'll often find batters coming close to you to come have a look, to have a word or two. Fielding captain will definitely be in your ear to check what ball you are choosing. It's not for them to decide. Two umpires together. We've just went through the criteria that you need to use to choose the replacement ball. So no input of captain or fielding captain or batters. If they do, and they will try their luck to come closer to you, all you need to tell them is, guys or girls, just give us a second. We're choosing the replacement ball. Once we've chosen the ball, we will give it to you. Last law that I'm covering is the bat. Bat's two parts, handle and a blade. Let's first cover the handle. So when it comes to what the handle can be made of, here the law say it can be made of cane or wood. Then the part of the handle that is wholly outside the blade, that is defined as the upper portion of the handle. And the law allows for the upper portion to be covered with a grip. So when it comes to the blade, now the blade is now the other, it comprises the whole of the bat apart from the handle. And now the law specific, when it comes to the blade, only to be made of wood. Whereas we saw in the previous slide, the handle can be made of cane or wood, but the blade only to be made of wood. This is just an example of in 1979 when Dennis Lilly came to bat with an aluminium bat. At the time, point number 2 was not in the law book, so this was technically not illegal at the time. After December 1979, they added point number 2 in the laws, where they tell us now blade only to be made out of wood. Then when it comes to damage of the ball, for any part of the bat, covered or uncovered, the hardness of the materials and the surface texture shall not be of such a nature that it causes unacceptable damage to the ball. The law gives us an interpretation of what is unacceptable damage. It tells us that unacceptable damage is any change to the bat that is greater than normal wear and tear causing by the ball striking the uncovered wooden surface of the bat. When does the ball make contact? Or when is the contact with the ball? So contact between the ball and any of the bat itself. So the whole of the bat, from the handle, including the grip, including the blade, the batter's hand holding the bat. Any part of the glove worn on the batter's hand holding the bat. Any additional materials permitted. If the ball makes contact with any of this, the law sees this as the ball striking or touching the bat. And if it gets subsequently caught by a player before touching the ground, striker can then be given out court. So contact with the ball is contact between the ball, the whole of the bat, the batter's hand holding the bat. It must be the hand that's holding the bat, or any part of the glove worn by the batter's hand holding the bat, or any additional materials, like if the ball touches the grip, it touched the bat. Some batters put a toe guard on the bat. That's also an example of an additional material. So if the ball touches the toe guard, it's also made contact with the bat. So when it comes to bat size limits, so when it comes to the length of the bat, all the law tells us is not more than 96.52 centimeters. That's all they tell us when it comes to the length of the bat, not more than 96.52 centimeters. When it comes to the blade of the bat, there are dimensions. The width, 10.8 centimeters, not more than 10.8. Depth, 6.7 centimeters. And edges, 4 centimeters. So these are the dimensions of the blade, and the bat not to exceed a width of 10.8, a depth of 6.7 centimeters, and edges may not be more than 4 centimeters. You can use a bat gauge to help you see if the bat does not exceed the dimensions that we've discovered. Here's an example of a bat gauge. So what will happen? Let's use Test match cricket as an example. The fourth umpire will do equipment inspections. So the fourth umpire will, with his or her bat gauge, go and do equipment or bat inspection. They'll put the various bats through the gauge. If the bat goes through the gauge, it's then a legal bat. If it does not go through the gauge, then that bat is not legal. Tom, that's all laws I'm covering for this evening. Thank you so much. I'm now handing back to you.
Thank you very much, Abdullah. And great to have got through our first 5 laws. We will now be going into the chat box to view all the questions that were posted in the particular chat box. And I will start by going through them one by one. So, firstly, great to see all the attendees from all around the world joining us. So welcome to all of you from India, Pakistan, Zimbabwe, Namibia, all over South Africa. And apologies to those countries that I have missed. I see Canada is also represented, as well as the USA. Thank you for putting your email addresses for those of you who have not received any course materials emails from me. So Mashood asked from Pakistan, what are the benefits of this course for somebody joining from Pakistan? Mashood, if you have been to university anywhere in the world and you have got a Bachelor of Commerce degree, that Bachelor of Commerce degree is a Bachelor of Commerce degree in Pakistan, it's a Bachelor of Commerce degree in South Africa, it's a Bachelor of Commerce degree in India. So in my mind, Cricket South Africa's level 1, level 2, level 3 qualifications should be recognized all around the world. If you think about it, Murray Rasmus, who was the best umpire in the world in 2021 and 2022, as voted by the International Cricket Council, he has got Cricket South Africa's level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4 umpiring qualifications. So if those are good enough for him, surely they should be good enough for you to umpire with anywhere around the world. But of course, as we know, politics exist everywhere in the world, cricket umpiring included. So I did mention that in Pakistan, you do have to still write a entry-level qualifying exam for you to start umpiring in Pakistan. But you having Cricket South Africa's level 1 exam will definitely put you ahead of any other candidates wanting to write that entry-level exam because you have got a qualification that they don't have. I hope that answers your question, Mashut. Srikanth asks, how can we upgrade to level 2? Srikanth, I think one of the slides that I presented earlier mentioned that our level 2 umpiring course for Cricket South Africa will next be presented in May 2025, and it will be online, and the exam will also be written available online. We are working with a proctoring software company to make that possible by May 2025. Pranab asks, can I get an internship or chance in South Africa to umpire? Pranab, I went through the detail of our exchange program, which allows umpires from anywhere around the world who have done level 1, level 2, or level 3 with us to visit Cape Town and umpire in our club leagues. I've also posted the interview that I had with Daitram Singh, an umpire from India who was on our exchange program for 3 months from December 2022 to February 2023. Scrolling down to the next questions. I'm just acknowledging as well candidates from the UAE. Good to have you guys joining us. Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. Hopefully we will be seeing you in December when we deliver training in Dar es Salaam. Zimbabwe, Bulawayo, Dallas, Texas. Umesh, good afternoon in Dallas. We were there in June 2024 during the World Cup. Please send our greetings to everybody at the Dallas Super Kings headquarters at the indoor center there in 22 yards. And of course, we've got South Africans joining us from all corners of the country. I'm still scrolling through the chat box to check for more questions. Yasser wants me to display the first page of Spirit of Cricket. Yasser, I will do that for you, no problem. Just bear with me. And just a good time for me to mention again that the laws of cricket are available in a PDF format, and that was on my email earlier this afternoon, attached to that particular email. So, yes, sir, this I think is what you're asking for. That's the first slide of the Spirit of Cricket. I'm going to go through the rest of the questions while we have that spirit of cricket slide displayed. You will have noticed that I've posted the interview with Daitram Singh, the Indian umpire who was with us for 3 months, December 2022 until February 2023. I've also posted the various methods of payment for your exam. Umesh asks, where do we get umpiring gear like ball gauge and bat gauge? Umesh, I don't know of anywhere that bat gauges are sold. I know that in South Africa, there is a shop at Centurion Stadium. It's called Supersport Park, where which is a test venue. South Africa played against India in the first test of the 2-test series in Boxing Day 2023 last year. There's a shop there that sells ball gauges, and Kookaburra, the ball manufacturer, also make ball gauges. So maybe try and get a shop that has Kookaburra in stock, bats or gloves, and maybe find out from the owners of that store if they can order ball gauges. Bat gauges are provided to us by Cricket South Africa, to the national panel umpires. Club cricket umpires do not typically in South Africa own bat gauges. There's only about 30 bat gauges in South Africa that are in circulation. I don't know about other countries how easily obtainable ball and bat gauges are. Ali asks if we can have the notes of the meeting in a PDF file. Ali, you would have seen that the presentation contains videos. I do not know how to embed videos into a PDF document, so I have sent you the presentation, which you can print if you wish to do so. I'm afraid it's not in PDF format, it's in PowerPoint presentation format. If anybody knows how to convert a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation into PDF, including the videos embedded into the PDF file, please convert the presentation for me and send it to me in PDF file. I will distribute it to all the candidates. Thank you. So what is the purpose of level 3 and level 4 conducts with signals to the scorers? Srikanth asks. Srikanth, those are signals that we hopefully will never have to produce in our umpiring careers, but they are for offenses which are carried out by any player. So I'll give you an example of level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 offenses. Level 1 could be a minor offense. Say, for example, a bowler bowls a ball and appeals for LBW, and the umpire gives the striker out leg before wicket, but the striker actually hit the ball before the ball hit his pad, so should not have been given out. And the striker shows dissent to the umpire, so that there are 4 different levels of dissent, and they will be punishable by level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So level 1, for example, might be the batter shaking his head when walking off the field. So that could be seen as a level 1 offense. and that will attract just a verbal reprimand from the umpire to the batter after the game to say, batter, you were shaking your head after I gave you out. That is a level 1 offense. The punishment for level 1 offense is a verbal warning. Say, for example, bowler bowls, appeals for LBW, umpire gives the batter out LBW, but the batter had actually hit the ball before the ball hit the pad. And so in reaction to being given out by the umpire, the batter shouts at the umpire, "You effing useless blind umpire, that was not out." So that would attract a level 2 offense, and a level 2 offense, there's no signal to it, but it will be recorded in a post-match report, and that player would be suspended for 4 matches, as an example. And this depends on the code of conduct that is used in that particular match or tournament. So now let us look at an even worse mode of dissent by a batter given out LBW by a umpire, where the batter felt that there was an inside edge before the ball hit the pads. If the batter raises his bat and walks towards the umpire and says, "You are such a terrible umpire, I will hit you with this bat and knock some sense into you." He threatens to hit the umpire, but does not actually hit the umpire. That would be regarded as a level 3 offense, and the umpire would, in his or her power, depending if the playing conditions for that match allow, or where there are no playing conditions for code of conduct, then they will institute the level 3 penalty for that offense. The first part of the level 3 signal is that, and then the second part is that. And once that signal has been made, then that batter will be suspended for 1/5 of the match. So if it is a 50 over match, then that batter will not be able to field for 10 overs when his team is supposed to field, and the team will field with 10 players only. So now let's go to the worst case possible for dissent by a batter when given out LBW, when the batter thought that there was an inside edge before the ball hit the pad. If the batter would go towards the umpire and physically hit the umpire with his bat, then the level 4 penalty would apply. That signal is waving of one arm and then raising of the index finger at head height. And that would mean suspension for the rest of that match. That team would then play the remainder of that match with only 10 players. So Srikanth, those are the 4 disciplinary levels that are highlighted in Law 42. Abdullah did not go into that detail because Law 42 is not examined in Cricket South Africa's level 1 exam, but it is in the presentation that I have sent to you, so you can read up more on your own about those levels of disciplinary punishments. Abhishek asks, A batsman who completed innings but injured during fielding can be replaced by a specialized bowler, or the replaced player cannot bowl out the innings. Abhishek, if the law tells us that if a player is injured after the toss but before the match has started, that player can be replaced with the permission of the opposing captain, and it does not have to be a like-for-like replacement. You could replace a batter with a bowler if the opposing captain allows. The playing conditions of international cricket allow for a replacement player if there is a concussion injury suffered by a player. And if there is a concussion replacement, then there would have to be a like-for-like replacement. And that like-for-like replacement is approved by the match referee, not the opposing captain. An example of a concussion replacement, the very first concussion replacement that happened in international cricket was, I think, in 2019 during an Ashes test match between Australia and England, where Steve Smith suffered a blow to the back of his neck. It was a delivery from Jofra Archer. He did continue batting, but later on he was found to be concussed, and so Marnus Labuschagne was the concussion replacement for Stephen Smith. They, at the time, were both middle order batters and also part-time leg spinners, so that was a like-for-like replacement. The playing conditions in international cricket allow for like-for-like replacements when there is a concussion injury. The law allow for and that concussion replacement is approved by the match referee of an international match. If you are playing a normal match in club cricket or in recreational cricket, then a replacement is allowed after the toss but before the start of play if the opposing captain allows for that replacement. And that replacement does not have to be a like-for-like replacement. I hope that answers your question, Abhishek. Next question is from Dion Nkuna. Dion says, after passing level 1, I'm eligible to umpire in Premier League club level in Mpumalanga. Dion, no. To umpire Premier League cricket in any province in South Africa, you need to have level 3. So when you've passed level 1, we will give you the contact details of the Limpopo Cricket Umpires Association. You can join them, and with level 1, you will be able to umpire in lower league cricket in Mpumalanga. You can only umpire Premier League cricket in South Africa if you have a level 3 qualification. Javid asks about batsmen deliberately running short. Javid, we will cover that in Law 18, I think next week, Tuesday. So please tune in for lecture number 4, where we will cover deliberate short running. Asif said that PayPal is not available in Pakistan, and he would like another way to be able to pay the exam fee. Asif, I have posted my WhatsApp number in the chat box. Please WhatsApp me and I will give you the bank account details of the bank account that can receive international wire transfers from Pakistan to South Africa. Shiv Shankar, what is the name of the approved ball in South Africa? In international cricket as well as provincial cricket, in South Africa, we use Kookaburra turf balls in all professional cricket matches in the country. Shiv? Abhishek asks, if equally used ball is not available as replacement, then should it be replaced with new or more worn out ball? Abhishek, the replacement ball should always be of the same wear or and tear or similar wear and tear of the ball that was used in a match. If you do not have a ball exactly of the same wear and tear of the ball that needs to be replaced, you must find or use a ball that is closest to the wear and tear of the ball that needs to be replaced. So you cannot replace a ball that is 45 overs old with a brand new ball. You need to find a ball that is close as possible to what that 45 over ball looked like. Mushra Jacobs says, hi, from what I've seen from your YouTube videos is that some of the laws is answered in green, and you said that those questions would be in the exam and the laws aren't answered in green. So I'm a bit confused. Mushra, so yes, in the PowerPoint presentation that I sent to everyone, the some text is highlighted in green, and that text is examined in the Cricket South Africa Level 1 exam. What we have presented today and what we will present in the next, in the first 6 lectures, we won't have any green highlighted text. We want you to focus on everything that we present. However, in our last lecture, we will provide only those slides which are examined in the Cricket South Africa Level 1 exam. Those previously had green text. We've taken the green text off, but it will be, instead of 380 slides, it will be, I think, 75 slides that you need to focus on for the exam. Celso, what does one short signal mean? It means the batters, when turning for a subsequent run, they turned short of the popping crease at the other end. So instead of scoring 2 runs, only 1 run was completed. So when we signal short run, then the scorers will know that 1 less run was completed than attempted. So they will, in the scorebook, record 1 run instead of 2 runs. We will go into more detail on short runs in lecture number 4 during our presentation of Law 18. Right. Yasser is asking about the PDF of today's lecture. I've mentioned my challenges about converting a PowerPoint presentation into PDF. Riley asks, what is the rule regarding a used ball that is lost and there are only new balls as replacement? Riley, you always need to have a selection of used balls at your disposal to be able to replace a lost or damaged ball with a ball that is of equal wear and tear or similar wear and tear. So as an umpire, you should never go into a match without a healthy selection of used balls. If, however, you only have new balls to select from, then unfortunately you will have to replace the lost or damaged ball with a new ball, but that is not an ideal scenario. You need to always have a selection of used balls. So what we do here at Western Province Cricket Umpires Association is the first match of the season. The umpires will collect a ball from each of the teams, and we will keep that ball as our spare ball for the season to come. So I would encourage you in your leagues to do the same. Takatso wants us to explain penalty run signals. So we will deal with many laws in this particular course where 5 penalty runs need to be awarded to the batting side. And Abdullah alluded to the fact that when you tap your opposite shoulder, it makes a similar sound to the ball hitting the bat. So that's 5 penalty runs awarded to the batting side. If you just hold your opposite shoulder, that is 5 penalty runs awarded to the bowling side. When do you award penalty runs to either side? We will get to those in future laws in subsequent lectures, Takatso. If you are not willing to wait, then you are welcome to watch previous level 1 lectures on our YouTube channel. Srikanth also asks about penalty runs. He says that penalty runs to the bowling team, is it to add to the total runs of the bowling team or subtract from total runs of the batting team? Penalty runs are always awarded to a particular team. So if the batting team has done something wrong, 5 penalty runs will be awarded to the batting side. If the bowling team has done something wrong, 5 penalty runs will be awarded to the batting side. I hope that answers your question, Srikanth. That seems to be all the questions in the chat box. Now I am going to go to the meeting room. I did see that some hands were up earlier in the evening, but there are no hands up anymore. If you do have a question that has not been answered, please put your hand up and you can ask it live in the lecture. I see that Umesh has written level 8 question. I'm not sure what that means. Umesh, your hand is now up in the meeting room. Please unmute your microphone and you may also switch on your camera. The floor is yours. You can ask your question.
Yeah, regarding the suspension of dangerous or unreasonable condition, it says in clause like 8th rule, second clause, like if both the umpires do not agree, then the play will be suspended immediately. But I thought like if both the umpires are not agreeing on certain things, the status quo remains. And if the play is going on, then it will continue to go on. If it is stopped, then it will stop. So whatever was the status quo at the time of the decision was supposed to be made, that continues if both the umpires don't agree. Is that not the truth? Is it different now?
Yes, Umesh, the laws that are currently in place in terms of termination of play due to unsafe conditions were changed in 2017. So before 2017, you're right, there needed to be agreement between the two on-field umpires that conditions had become unsafe, or what's the other word that Abdullah used? I will remember it shortly. But in 2017, the change was made that if either umpire feels that conditions have become unsafe or unreasonable, that's the second word I was looking for, then play shall be stopped immediately. Or if they are off the field and either umpire still considers conditions to be unsafe or unreasonable, then play shall not continue. The change of laws in 2017 concentrated highly on safety of players. So that is why the change was made, Umesh, that if either umpire considers conditions to be unsafe or unreasonable, then play shall be suspended. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I have another question. Appointment of scorers. It says 2 scorers shall be appointed to record all scores. So is it 1 manual, 1 electronic, or 2 for manual and 2 for electronic?
So, Umesh, depending on the playing conditions or the bylaws of the tournament or the match, scorers will be linear or manual or electronic. The law simply states that two scorers shall be used in a match. Yes, it is possible for only one scorer to score in a match, but that is not ideal because quite often if you have two different scorers, they might not always agree on the scores. So the best way to check that your score is correct is if you have somebody scoring with you. And ideally, those two scorers should sit together and they should confirm each other's scores at least at the end of each over. So according to law, it does not matter if the scorers are manual scorers, if the scorers are electronic scorers, if the scorers are linear scorers. Law just requires or recommends that there are two scorers for every match. I hope that answers your question, Umesh.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Great. You're welcome. Next hand up is Javid. Javid, please unmute your microphone, switch on your camera if you wish. The floor is yours.
Sir, can we remove the bails from the both ends if there is a windy condition?
Can you remove bails from both ends if there is windy conditions? Yes, Javid. This is covered in Law 29, if I'm not mistaken. We will go into detail in that in lecture number 5. So join us in 2 weeks' time when we will go into how the law changes in terms of how a wicket is fairly put down when you are playing with no bails on. I hope that answers your question or gets you excited for lecture number 5, Javid.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
You are most welcome. Dean mentions in the chat box that our YouTube videos are top class. Thank you, Dean. I do notice that you always comment on our Make the Call videos. And on Wednesday, I will be resuming the Make the Call videos where you as level 1, 2, or 3 candidates can make a decision on a difficult umpiring scenario. So I'll be expecting an answer from you as usual, Dean. Keep watching. Thank you so much for your interaction. I see no new hands up in the meeting room. I see no new questions in the chat box. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for joining us for lecture 1 of Cricket South Africa's level 1 umpiring course. We will do this all again tomorrow evening, same time, same place, same Microsoft Teams meeting link. So you can just join again at the same time as you did today. Thank you all very much for your attendance and your interaction. Have a great day further. Thank you and good night. I will be posting this recording on YouTube tomorrow morning, so look out for it then. Cheers. Goodbye.